You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the Podcast Mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better. And today our guest is the founder and president of C.O.V.E Media, a full-service boutique marketing agency here to help bring brands exposure and awareness with innovative marketing techniques. They're no average marketing agency, though. They're storytellers. At C.O.V.E, marketing is not just about attention. It's about telling stories that connect and engage with audiences. At C.O.V.E, they cover the full spectrum of digital marketing, including social media management, influencer marketing, content creation, advertising, brand consulting, engagement, audience building, you name it. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please introduce my guest, Candy Santana. Candy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Wow, what an introduction. I'm so grateful to be here and to be talking about all these things with you.
I should have planned that better. So Candy, yes, that intro was great, but it was pretty much your intro from your website. Just grabbed it from there and just shared that. So you guys over at C.O.V.E are storytellers, but how did you get into the world of digital entrepreneurship?
How did I get started? So we have actually 6 years this October. And I actually went to law school. So I graduated law school in 2016, and I'm also an actress and producer. So my business, I know, it came out of the necessity to have the freedom as an actor to be able to tell stories, number one, but also to have the freedom to audition when we need to and travel when we need to. So I published a book when I started my business, right before I started it, and it became an instant Amazon's bestseller, right? And so when I saw that, I was like, if I can do this with my book, I can do this for other people, and I can have my own business and have my own freedom and be able to, have the life that I'm trying to design as an artist and producer and all of these things. So instant Amazon's bestseller. Then I took on my first client, which was an art gallery. I was an art gallery director there, learned some more marketing, 0 people walking in the door. And within 2 to 3 months, we had a really packed exhibition. And it was all through the marketing techniques that I learned. So from there is really where the idea of C.O.V.E Media came. And since then, I've worked in the fitness industry, legal industry, worked with global clients, artists, you name it. And we've worked in a nice range with our clients. And we use everything that you see on your phone. That's how I explain it to my clients. Digital marketing is everything that's on your phone, right? So is it the ads, it's the social media, commercials, everything that you see on your phone, we provide for our clients.
That's amazing. And so it really just came from your wanting to be able to say, hey, I want to go audition whenever and not be constrained. You got that freedom from entrepreneurialism.
Absolutely. And I've always been that person. I would say entrepreneurs, a lot of people say they want freedom, they want their schedules to be free, and they want to, be by the beach on the computer. But you have to have a certain discipline, right, to be an entrepreneur, that even though you want the freedom, it comes with a set of rules as well. You
Mhm.
still have to be disciplined. You still have to show up every day when things are good, when things are not good. It's like it's a different type of grind, but it's still a grind for sure.
And so when you started doing the marketing for the art gallery and then you moved on to other brands,
Hmm.
what lessons did you learn from each individual client? Like, since you were just starting out, you like getting these clients, lead generation must have been something you had to learn, specifically in the different industries that you went into.
Definitely. So one of my biggest tips of advice for entrepreneurs is to believe in what you're offering, right? So whether that's a product or a service, or you're coming up with this great idea, believe in it so much, because what happens is you won't even have to go out and look for the clients. You're going to be in the places and speaking about what you believe in, and people are going to be naturally attracted to work with you, right? So for me, in the beginning, I started with a chiropractor, I started with realtors and the art gallery, right? Two, three completely different spaces. And it really was from my passion of what I was doing. And I was a one-stop shop in the beginning. You know how that is,
Oh, yeah.
right? When you start, the team is you. It's you, yourself, and you again. Like that's the team,
And who it's you.
so it's just you. So I really, what I knew, even though there were different industries, is I knew the technique that worked. I studied it, and through working with my clients, seeing the results, I became more and more confident in it, because you bring results to your clients, right? So while the industry may have been different, they all want the same thing, and that's results. So you have to focus on, okay, what has worked, what hasn't worked, and how can I improve this for my client, no matter the industry or the type of marketing they need.
I love that. Um,
Mhm.
what is one of your favorite moments that you had during your journey so far in the past 6 years
Hmm.
that you're caring to share? Either one that you personally got a win, like it was a win for you, or even a win for a client.
Mhm. Wow. I've been thinking a lot about when you start something and you have a vision for it, right? Like I said, when it's in the beginning, it's just you. You're the team. You're the graphic designer. You're the website developer. You're everything. And there's this certain amount of like drive and passion that you have when you're starting out. And being here almost 6 years later, it's beautiful, because now I really have a team. Now I have all these things, and I've worked with so many industries, and I've impacted a lot of small businesses through my work, through this drive to want to help people. So I think the win has been to see 6 years later that I'm still here, that the business has grown, and that we worked with so many amazing people from so many different backgrounds and so many different industries. And one thing for sure is that we've helped them accomplish their dreams. We've helped them accomplish their goals. Business owners just want, it's not just about the bottom line. It's beautiful when, for example, I had an accountant. He's like, this is what I want my brand to look like. I don't know how to get it there. Right. And so when you help them with that creation process, it's such a beautiful experience to bring your client's dream to life. So most of my the thing that I'm most grateful for is being able to create this business, but also to help other people accomplish their goals with their businesses. And the storytelling is just so fun. I get to do it every day, so it's hard to pick one moment. It's like this, I do this every single day. So.
I want to touch on the storytelling because I'm seeing it a lot more in brand building and
Mhm.
talking how it's important to bring your customers but also your fans, because people become fans, customers become fans of
Yes.
brands, they become raving fans. And
Yes.
it's interesting because I'm coming from the podcasting world where we don't
Mhm.
have customers, we have fans first that we want to turn into customers. Whereas for
Correct.
businesses, you're coming from the business world using storytelling to sell clients and
Mhm.
turn them into raving fans. So understand from your point, when did you see storytelling start impacting the marketing world and become
Well,
such a
it's
powerful force?
interestingly enough, because I'm an artist, that was my approach from the beginning, right?
Ah,
With my clients. It was because we know storytelling, I tell people all the time, you're telling a story every time you meet someone, right? It's how you're interacting with the person, what you decide to share, how you decide to share it, and why. Those are the same tools that you use to design your brand, right? So that from the beginning has always been the way that I work with my clients. What story are you trying to tell? So that way we can have that thread throughout product launches or services or new things that can come up in your business. We always want to be in alignment with your story, right? So since the beginning, that's how I've done my marketing, whether it be a gym, right? I've talked about this in other podcasts in the sense that in the fitness industry, most of it is about just losing weight, right? But that's not our approach. We know that to motivate and inspire people, we can't just say you got to lose weight. It's about feeling good. It's about how you feel after a workout. It's about the community. So I've always used storytelling as a tool, and it's about connection, right? So while we will be selling something, we want to connect with our audience. And that, thank God, through analytics, you'll see what stories connect, which ones don't, and you're able to, shift gears if you have to shift gears, but your audience also tells you what they like and they don't like. So that also helps in the storytelling as well.
I like that. Um, I'm curious. You said you studied law.
Yes. I have a very diverse background.
Was it always something you wanted to do law, or were you always passionate about being an actress, going into the arts, and the law was just a backup career?
So it's funny because I'm Dominican, right? So I grew up telling stories. That's what we do. We get together, and I say I bring up being Dominican because we're very dramatic. Like we'll say everyone sit down, and I'm gonna tell you what happened to me the other day. And it's never like we're having a conversation. We have to act out what the other person did and how I did it. So we are born, to act out on the stage, I would say. So as I was growing up, everyone would think like, "Oh wow, she's going to be a great lawyer because just look how outspoken she is and opinionated." So it kind of was what I thought I was the right thing to do.
Mhm.
And also, we know how it is for artists, where we see that it's a difficult field and all of that stuff. So through becoming an attorney, I was still able to, act, right? We have to speak in front of the classroom, we have to litigate our cases. So, but it was my second year where I decided, like, okay, I need to really go after what I want. And that was because I was already top of my class running a multi-million dollar firm. I was working with one of the best attorneys in New York. And I had a lot of success at a young age. So I thought, like, I'm going really, really fast for something I don't really want. Why not put this energy into what my true dream is? Which I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs listening that feel that way. They think, wow, this would be a big jump if I leave my secure job, and how can I do it? And I'm here to say it's possible. It's not easy, but it's possible.
Nothing is. I
So,
found that nothing in life is easy. It's simple. It's life is
yes,
very simple, but it's not easy. It
yes,
takes a lot of hard work and
yes, yes,
to be disciplined, to stay disciplined, because it's very easy to
yes,
go. It's very simple to fall into the easy way of life, where it's
yes.
just show up and collect a paycheck and then
Hmm.
soul sucking death um, in the
Yes,
corporate world.
yes.
And something that I've noticed with entrepreneurs who flipped from being in the corporate world to entrepreneurialism, the freedom that they get and the revitalization, it's like a being
Mhm.
reborn. Um,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
when you were going from being just a solo, being the whole company, to hiring your first employee,
Mhm.
what was that like for you? What was that moment where you decided, yeah, I need to offset some work?
I think, there's two things that go into it. I was working 17-hour days every single day. There was no Saturday, Sunday. I didn't know what that looked like, and it's because you have deadlines and you have to do them. So, um I think I did that for about 2 years, where it was just me and I was, doing the meetings. And it's so funny because something as simple as someone to take notes for you will completely change how you have a meeting with your client if you're not thinking about the fact that you then have to like memorize and write everything down and what are you going to forget. So after the first 2 years of not having a life, basically, I decided like, okay, we're making money because there's also that element when you start off, you're the only person because you you can't afford to pay anybody,
Yeah.
which is fair. It's fine. That's part of the business. So after 2 years, and I finally at the point where it's like, okay, I'm making money where I can afford to have someone come on. It was a difficult process in the beginning to relinquish control because you think that the only reason something is working is because you're doing it. So the minute you have to relinquish control and have someone help you, there's a little bit of I don't know what it's called, paranoia that comes in on are they going to make mistakes and then it's double the work. And but that's why the hiring process is so important, and trusting who you hire so that you can actually give yourself the space. And help is necessary, a different set of eyes, creative ideas, and the support is super super helpful when you finally decide to hire someone. So I would say just when you're ready, when you're financially ready, when you're in a position where you can pay for someone and use your now free time to generate more income, that's definitely a good time to bring someone on that you trust and respect as well.
Ooh, that's important. The trust and respect. Um,
Hmm.
did you hire a virtual assistant, or did you find someone in your network to come work with you?
I hired a virtual assistant at first, and I love this because when we started, I was like, okay, you're going to do 5 hours a week. We're going to see how it goes, and then it's going to grow. Now she's working almost 30 hours a week. So she's a project manager. She's been promoted. So it's a beautiful, like I said, it's a beautiful process to see the growth when you start something, and then a few years later, you see the fruits of your labor. So,
That's awesome. You have your first VAs, or one of your first VAs, still working with you and being
oh,
in
yeah.
a. It's so. Do you find that you're running because you're using more? You're digital. You're not in a physical location. You're not in the traditional
Hmm.
sense of brick and mortar businesses like we
Hmm.
see in Mad Men and that. Um,
Hmm.
do you feel that you're running like a typical company, like a regular corporate company, or do you feel you have a different vibe about it because it's more of a remote based business?
So it's funny because before COVID, I felt like a complete outcast, right? It was like, I don't work in an office and, how professional is this? But this is the only way. It doesn't make sense for me to have an office when no clients come in to meet with me. It just wasn't a thing. Now I feel like I'm running a traditional company. We have people around the world. We get, it's more normal to have the type of company that I have where we have people working around the world, around the clock as well, because it's around the world. So we're able to meet deadlines differently. I do think this is the future of how it should run. And what I love about it is because you have people from around the world working for your company, it's a fresh, like the perspectives and the ideas that can come from that are priceless. So I do think now it feels more like, okay, I'm not an outcast. Like that now this is the trends. Now
People,
everyone is on trend.
people are coming to you for advice on how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because back then people are like, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm working 18-hour days, guys. This is a legit business. This is really, really hard. Um, and now people understand, like, because you're zooming at home, it doesn't mean that it's not a serious business. And I guess it's because everyone had to do it during the
Yeah.
pandemic. So it brought on it it made this more acceptable to people to understand.
Um, where do you see your company going in the next 5 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. I used to say that at year 5 I want to sell,
Okay.
and now I'm going to
It's
year
year
6,
6, yeah.
and I'm like, I don't want to sell. And that's because of the type of industry that I'm in, also as an artist. This is a great avenue to be creative and to tell stories. So I think the goal is not about selling so much. That's shifted. It's more about the type of clients that I take on, right? To have work that is more in alignment with my values, and clients that are aligned with their intentions and their purpose, and the type of businesses that I take on. We just took on a great TEDx speaker as a client, and we're so proud of her. She's also a dentist, and just aligning with my clients in a different, making sure we share the same values. Because in the beginning, you're just like, everybody, please, I'll take on any client. I just need to work.
As long as there's
And
revenue,
now
I'll take it.
it's like this whole thingy. And now it's just, I really want to make sure I work with brands that represent my values and the clients and businesses. That's the goal for sure.
I love that.
Mhm.
Who is your ideal client?
So my ideal client is someone who understands and respects the work that it takes to really build a brand. I think we're dealing with a lot of people who come in and are like, I want to be viral. It's like, no, red flag, we're good. Understands, respects the value, and really, is a collaborative partner. We're partners, right? Your growth is my growth, my growth is your growth. That's what I tell my clients all the time. I want your business to grow, not just so I can keep you as a client, but as an extension of C.O.V.E. Media. Look what we've done, kind of thing with our clients. So a partner who understands the work and respects the work and is really to go at this long term to grow their business and really feel successful. I really like working with people that come at this from a successful point of view of this is going to work attitude. I think that's super, super important in our space that we work in with digital marketing, podcasting. The mentality has to be about it working and trying different ideas to get the end result, which is always growth.
I like that. Great. I have so many questions and just trying to pick them. That's the difficult part. Have you a project that you've worked on, or a brand or a collaboration that you've worked on that you were really surprised about how it turned out? Either positive or negative. Like it was just something like you were not expecting that to happen.
Let me think, which client would that be? I think so. There's this one client that we've been working together since, I think it's about 4 years now. And when I started with this client, I've seen the growth of his businesses, but also just he has said things like, you have helped me feel more proud of my work. The growth, the clients, the connections, working with you has transformed me as a person, not just my business, but me as a person. And this person, he's a real estate agent. The numbers are insane of like the sales, and that is all great. But hearing that the type of work we do has impacted him as a person reaps a completely different reward for me as a business owner. And to also hear his clients say like, wow, he has completely, shifted, and he's become a completely different person. And not that he wasn't a good person, but just the growth and the confidence.
He became a
and the
better
ability.
person.
He became a better person, but with the growth and confidence. And he has 3 businesses that we help him with all 3. So it's different when people say they changed for the better because of how you work with them. I would say that's been the most rewarding. I wasn't expecting that. And
That
that's
is,
rewarding.
wow, that's like a platinum level achievement. Hearing that from a client.
So that I would say has been the most rewarding experience, hearing that he's changed as a person, and the growth financially has been better than we could have ever imagined. So
No
that's
doubt.
also super helpful.
I want to get a tip from you before we
Mhm.
jump to the last question. For people coming from the arts, because you come from the arts, and we're going to cover all of them, maybe a tip for them to use storytelling to help them sell their service, or at least sell themselves for their first couple clients, maybe a simple tip that they can have.
I think so. A simple tip, yeah, like you said, it could be simple, but it's not easy. um, I've been meditating for 10 years now, right? And through my meditation, I've been able to get clarity on who I am and my purpose and what I want to do. So I think before you tell your story, you have to understand your why. Get super clear with your why. If you are opening a new business, if you want to start a podcast, get super clear on your why, because that's going to help you during those times where there's no one knocking on your door. And it's also going to help you when you have so many people coming through your door, you don't know what to do with it, right? You don't know how to decide who to work with and why. So get very clear. Take the time as an entrepreneur. I think this is the biggest thing. Take your time for yourself to become emotionally intelligent. And the reason is because businesses in general have highs and lows. But if your emotional intelligence is intact, you'll be able to handle everything that comes with it. And that comes with also knowing your why. So it's kind of like a combination of the two. Take the time to understand yourself and develop emotional intelligence skills, and also know your why.
I love that. That is a great. The why is so important, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs jumping into the world of beginner entrepreneurs don't know about the why, and they just say money, 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 and the why is way more important.
Definitely, especially now where we see a lot of social media trends.
Yeah.
Make 6 figures. Okay, that looks really cute on Instagram, but there's a lot of work to do on that. So
yeah, if you don't have a good why, when you come up to the hard days, you'll not want to do it. It's not worth it, but you have to keep pushing through, knowing that your why, whatever it is going to keep you through and keep you warm on those cold days. In essence, it's your fire.
And there's plenty of cold days.
Yeah, they can stretch long or they can be intermittent. Who knows? But we're coming up to the spark portion of the show. A spark question by Seek Discomfort, the boys over at Yes Theory, where we spark conversations with strangers. And the conversation spark today is there someone who has had a big impact on your life and doesn't even know it?
Wow, that's a great question. Doesn't know it. So I'm very outspoken. So I so they know. They know. But my parents are definitely my biggest. My father's owned his own business ever since I was like 3 years old. And I've learned the most from him about his why. And I've seen him in good times, I've seen him in bad times, and I've seen how steady he is as a business owner. And that has influenced me a lot in my career and in all of my decisions. It's really helped me to see how steady he's always been. But I always tell him. So there's that part. I tell him, I'm like, wow, now I understand why you were like this, and now I understand why you did this, and it influences a lot of my decision making now as well.
I love that. I think that's that's fun. That's a great answer to this question. My God, over here going, dang. So, Candy, I'm going to jump off the screen here. I'm going to give you the last little bit. Please let my audience know where they can come work with you, how they can follow you, support you, anything you want. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So you can find me at C.O.V.E.media.com. So that's COVE-media.com. And the same thing is on Instagram. You can find us at C.O.V.E. Media on Instagram as well. And you can send us a DM. You can send us an email, however you like to connect with us. We'd be happy to chat.
Awesome. Candy, I can't thank you enough for being on the show. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
To my audience, as you know, the show notes will have all the links to connect with Candy, to the website, the Instagram, social media, aplenty. So make sure you check out that, and always remember to invest in yourself.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.